Some say childhood is the best time in our lives. No worries, no problems, no fears. Just us and our friends, both real and imaginary, rolling around in a world of fantasy, flying high in the sky, diving deep into the ocean, climbing mountains in our minds. But for some people, their imagination is their reality.
Cartoons were really inaccessible to me as a kid because they were so visual. I couldn't identify with them at all because there was an awful lot happening in the cartoons that was not expressed through dialogue.
Rebecca Blevoigt was born blind. She was 5 when she first realized that not being able to see wasn't something everyone dealt with.
We had just had a visit from the principal of the School for the Blind that I would be attending. And I think it was that visit that made me start to think, I wonder, and I started to realize that I couldn't see out of my eyes.
Rebecca is one of the owners of Tactile Vision Graphics in Windsor, a business that prints materials in Braille. She and her husband Emmanuel have signed a 3-year licensing agreement with Disney to produce at least 15 creative coloring books with Disney characters. Disney books in Braille had never been produced in Disney's 90-year history. Emmanuel came up with the idea.
We had just come back to Canada and he started saying, you know, our coloring books would be great for if we had Disney characters. And my immediate reaction was, well, oh gosh, you know, imagine the red tape you have to go through to get that.
Blind and visually impaired will finally be able to see Disney classics like Mickey Mouse, Bambi, 101 Dalmatian, Goofy, and many more. The process of producing books consists of taking the Disney art and adapting it in a tactile format that will make sense to blind people reading it. Rebecca believes books with Disney characters will open a window to a completely new world.
If I knew that there were Braille coloring books, if the first Braille coloring books that I ever got were Disney characters, that would be very cool. I think as a kid I would have found that extremely neat, you know, to be able to bring that and show the other children and be able to color.
According to the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, there are 500,000 Canadians with significant visual impairment. Almost 200,000 of them reside in Ontario.
The number of requests we've gotten to let them know when the books are available from adults are even more than the number of kids. So it's because we didn't grow up with this stuff either. So yeah, it's a huge lot of people that are going to be impacted by this.
Emmanuel designs graphics in Braille for the purpose of Braille readers. One of his favorite pieces of art that he created is the periodic table of elements. Although making coloring books with Disney characters fulfills him and makes him happy, Emmanuel says it's a long process since it needs to be done very precisely.
It's slow work, slow process. It's too slow for me, but I want everything last week, so I want everything yesterday, so I just have to be patient.
Emmanuel remembers the first time he revealed one of their coloring books to a child. It was with a little girl who was blind.
The little girl was right in front of me and she was just like this. She had never touched a coloring book with her fingers. What do you think it is? It's a house. Yeah, you're right, that's a house. How do you know it's a house? There's windows. Yeah, you're right. It was the first time she was actually touching her own idea of a house. Her mom was just like crying for me.
Seeing how blue the sky looks on a bright sunny day, the simplicity of nature's beauty, or the vibrant color of a freshly bloomed flower, so many of us take sight for granted. In their modest office, their second home, Rebecca and Emmanuel don't work alone. They have their biggest supporter always by their side, Carrie, Rebecca's seeing-eye dog and loving companion. Carrie doesn't know what preconception is, but Rebecca's father says it's something Rebecca faced with since she was a child.
The biggest challenge in raising Rebecca, I think it was more related to how other people dealt with her. Everybody wanted to help her, and because of her independence, she wanted to do it herself. So it was very difficult in some ways to tell people, let her do it.
I mean, there are things that are much easier to do when you can see. Just about everything's easier to do when you can see. But I think a larger obstacle than blindness is probably the societal perceptions of what blind people are capable of. That continues to be a battle that I have to fight with just about everyone I meet. There's all sorts of societal impressions that are made before I even say a word.
It's really funny because when Rebecca was a young girl, and even into her teenage years, I thought that this girl's gonna make her mark because she was so inventive, and of course she's met Emmanuel, who is a very creative young man, and between the two of them, they've come up with this phenomenal idea, and they'll do well.
Rebecca decided to embrace her destiny from the moment she became aware of it. Today, she is brave, confident, happy, and determined to bring Disney characters in lives of blind and visually impaired, especially the young ones, and take them on a journey in which they have never been before.
The most important thing, after everything and before everything, is to be true to yourself. Whatever society throws at you, whatever other expectations people have of you, listen to your inner voice and do what's in your heart.